What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. As we take a look here at the matchups with the highest point totals going into the weekend, nothing is as easy to enjoy as a Sunday full of football and a fridge full of beer. But these are the games we're locking in on, starting with Panthers at the Dolphins. Jay, the Dolphins are favored by almost 2 touchdowns in this one. The line, most importantly, is set at 47.5. But all we care about is, can you start anyone on the Panthers besides Adam Thielen in fantasy?
Well, I wouldn't be starting Miles Sanders as he just got ruled out, so it looks like it's going to be the Chuba Hubbard show. Not many people typically watch that show, but he will get a lot of work, we expect, Matthew.
Frank Reich from the podium saying, that it will be mostly Chuba Hubbard that gets the work. Look, he's had 4 straight games with multiple receptions, and in games in his career when he gets at least 12 touches, and we figure he should get at least 12 touches in this game with no Miles Sanders, he's averaging 12 fantasy points per game. Remember this year, the Carolina running backs as a whole have a 21% target share, and so with no Miles Sanders there, again, an offensive line that struggles. Bryce Young is still trying to find his way in the NFL. He's been quick to dump off to running backs, and again, given how this game script is going to go or how we expect it to go, I think Chuba Hubbard becomes a viable PPR flex. I'm at running back 23. I don't know that you're super excited about Chuba Hubbard, but I also think you could do worse and probably have.
Yeah, I also think with some teams on bye that there is a chance that Jonathan Mingo can maybe be flex viable. In our show league, I'm going to have to start Cam Akers because I've got no one else at running back. There's no one, so I just need to depend on Alexander Madison losing his job.
Insert Najee Harris joke somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
If I could, I would rather start Jonathan Mingo than Cam Akers because he's averaging 6.5 targets a game and he's getting work. And surely they're going to have to throw as 2 touchdown dogs.
We just heard, Connor, you just talk about Mingo as well.
Right.
And Denny in the regression files.
Yeah, they're going to have to get him way more involved. And 3 or 4 games, 6+ targets, you like to see that. But I think the targets not all targets are the same. Right. They need to drop a little bit of some more schemed up, easier targets for the young player.
Well, and one of the reports that have been coming out of Carolina is that they want to simplify the offense for Bryce Young. And they're trying to, and so one of the ways you do that is dump offs to the running back or quick screens, bubble screens, quick slants to guys like Mingo or Thielen, just easy pitch and catch kind of stuff that just, doesn't 3-step drop stuff, just boom, boom, get the ball out. And so you could see Mingo, he's my wide receiver 43 again, but if you're desperate, if you're somebody that, used a 6th-round pick on Najee Harris,
that's all right.
Someone I know.
ADP end of the 3rd round, that's fine.
So Mingo is somebody that, and you certainly like going forward. DJ Shark also, it's worth noting, I'm at wide receiver 45. Look, if there's a positive for DJ Shark, right? He leads the team in deep targets this season. They may chuck it deep as well. That's what you're hoping for is one big play from him. We've seen him score this season. But I prefer Mingo to Shark if you're swimming in those waters. Also, start every Dolphin. We don't know yet. It's interesting. Just during the break, Mike McDaniel said from the podium that there's a lot of different moving pieces with their roster, and so they're not sure yet if they are going to actually activate Jeff Wilson Jr. for this weekend's game. They may, because of some things that they're going on with the roster, they may feel like they're comfortable with Raheem Mostert and then getting some backup from Savon Ahmed and Chris Brooks. So we will wait to see, but certainly Mostert a must start.
Our next game here, the Cardinals, they're traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Rams, who are touchdown favorites. The over-under bumped up a little even higher for this one at 49. And Matthew, I'll ask you this one. Is Stafford a top 10 play in fantasy for quarterbacks this week because of the matchup?
Well, I like the fact that you're completely ignoring our full screen there that shows me having his QB 8. So the answer is yes. Yes, he is a top 10
fantasy. You're a mile away at the bar.
Yeah.
With a table in front of my monitor.
Whatever, you've got them young eyes. I've got old man eyes,
no,
and
I
I could see it. I could certainly see it. Do we need to get you readers? Here, the fact of the matter is the Rams have the 4th highest implied team total on the slate. We expect a lot of points against an Arizona defense that allows the 4th most fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks. They just revived Joe Burrow last week as well. Stafford's playing really, really well, and they're throwing a ton. He's top 5 in the NFL in pass attempts and passing yards. He's got Cooper Kupp back, obviously Puka Nacua there as well. Higbee, it should be a big day for Matthew Stafford again, who's my 8th best quarterback this week, as many of you saw on your screen.
Yeah, I feel like the Cardinals kind of became themselves last week, where there was a split second there where it looked like they might beat the Bengals. It's like, is this team going to be contending for the playoffs? It's like, no, we're going to be a Caleb Williams team. And I think that just Stafford, so long as he has Kupp and Puka Nacua healthy, I think he's just the start every single week. He'll be a viable starting quarterback in standard leagues.
And the last thing I just want to say here, Keontae Ingram making a lot of progress. Jonathan Gannon from the podium saying, like, he's looked good. We'll see. He's trending in the right direction. If I am forced to start a Cardinals running back, I think it's still Amari DiMarcado, who is their passing down back. Game script, they're a touchdown underdog. They should be throwing more. It'd be Ingram's first game back. I think it'll be a committee, and you'll actually see like 2 or 3 touches from Rondale Moore back there as well. But if I'm calling my shot here. Again, ideally you're avoiding the situation until we see how it plays out. But if forced to because of injuries and bye weeks, you have to start one of them. I'll say DiMarcado over Ingram.
Our final game here, the Cowboys at the Chargers. This one is obviously Monday Night Football, and the Cowboys are favored by 2 points. The over-under set at 50.5. Jay, where's your confidence level in this Cowboys offense bouncing back, starting with Dak, but of course also looking at Tony Pollard and CeeDee Lamb, the stars of this offense?
Yeah, well, first, this is a massive game. The loser of this game is pretty much done for the division. And look, if there was a different owner and different head coach relationship, you say that if Mike McCarthy was going to lose this, he might be done. Then you'll probably stick around regardless. In terms of their offense, look, this isn't much easier matchup than playing the 49ers, so I think that you feel good about starting CeeDee Lamb because he's CeeDee Lamb. You feel good about starting Pollard because of the work that he gets and his touchdown potential. Dak is a tough one, Matthew. He has not looked good this year. Even when he's put up stats, like his best statistical game was against the Jets, where he really threw a pick six to Sauce Gardner, just went through Sauce's hands. But how do you feel about Dak?
He's had one game with multiple touchdown passes so far this season, under 15 fantasy points in 3 straight games. The pro-Dak argument is all about the Chargers defense, which has allowed over 350 passing yards and 3 touchdowns to 2 different quarterbacks this season, Tua Tagovailoa and Kirk Cousins. They are one of the worst teams in the NFL against the pass. No team is giving up more passing yards per game than the Chargers. So that's the argument, is can he get going? I'm a QB, I have him at QB 10, so I'm expecting like a goodish game here that like, if he can't do it against the Chargers, then you're just absolutely done. I do think he's a streamer, but like, it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't have a great game here. Again, the issue with Dak is he's not running, so it's going to have to be all on his arm, really.
I wonder how much of our perception of Dak Prescott is just skewed by his games against the San Francisco 49ers, because it's just every time he plays them, he is melted, and they've been in such big spots in the playoffs last year, massive Sunday Night Football game last week. You take that out, like I think he's still a very good quarterback. The offensive line is good. It's still CeeDee Lamb. He's still got weapons. He wasn't
great against Arizona, and other than this year, we haven't seen it. He didn't have to do anything against the Giants because they blew him out. I mean, like, he's gotten in these blowout games. He didn't have to do anything against the Jets. So that's my point. And he got lucky with it. That should have been a pick six by Sauce. And so I don't know. Look, the game is the game's at home, right? The game's in
Los Angeles.
Oh, sorry, the game's in Los Angeles.
But it is in a dome, so
it is right.
There'll probably be more Cowboys fans there, though. To be fair,
yeah, I mean, exactly. I'm at QB 10, but I don't feel like rock solid about it. I'm not like you must. Like if you were, and I'll say this too, 50.5 is an over/under. I kind of like the under here. Yeah. Like I mean, because the Chargers may be limited by the Cowboys, as well. I don't know. It's a good defense, and could the Chargers step up, especially because the Cowboys' offense hasn't looked explosive this year? I like the under here, but I do think Dak is usable this week as a QB 10. I do think it'll be a better day for CeeDee Lamb, for Tony Pollard, for Dak Prescott, for the Cowboys you care about, for Jake Ferguson as well.
Yeah, I kind of like Dak this week just because I think this is the best chance to be the most normal game that he's played this season, because I think the Cowboys have outscored their opponents like 110-13 in their 3 wins, and then their 2 losses, they've just been blown out. So I think that just with Herbert and that offense, I think this is going to be a more normal game, and that will allow Dak to throw more.
Chargers give up the 2nd most fantasy points to wide receivers, the 4th most fantasy points to quarterbacks, and the 7th most fantasy points to running backs. So again, if Mike McCarthy's offense can't get any track against the Bolts, then it is pure panic time.
Austin Eckler expected to return in this game, and a sneaky revenge spot for Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Sneaky revenge
spot. You don't
spot.
think Kellen Moore wants to put up some points?
Oh, he certainly does.
That'll
do it for What's on Tap,
I'm
presented by Bud
I'm back
Light.
on the over.
Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. We're going to break when we're back. Last call. We got pickup lines for Barry.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.